duty to shine the light of truth, to bring justice to the restless souls whose lives were lost to their hands. Rise up against the evildoers of this world so that their souls may have peace. We will not surrender. We will fight. We will stand for what is right because we are the Justice Warriors.
Good evening, guys. We are here today to discuss murder in West Tennessee. A 24-year-old woman, a daughter of a 2-year-old, the mother of a 2-year-old daughter, died on March 15th, 2021 in Martin, Tennessee. Her name was Desaray Wright. Sorry, I'm having a hard time forming my words tonight. Her name was Desaray Wright, and we're here today with her mother, Patricia Southerland, who we actually did a podcast on Miss Desaray a couple years ago, and we said we were going to come back and do an update on it, and this is the first time we've gotten to an update, but from what I understand, there just really hasn't been a whole lot. I think Patricia did have some things that she wanted to add, though, and she's been reaching out to me for a couple months now. So we wanted to go ahead and get Patricia on and let her talk about some of the updates of that case. Hi, Patricia.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm okay. How are you?
That's good. Good. Yeah. So what is going on with this case? We just haven't heard a whole lot about it in the media or anything.
Well, since the beginning of this case, there has been several investigators being promoted, and then someone else takes over the case.
Mhm.
Pretty much right now, the case is on a standstill. They really can't do nothing or don't have any new evidence, is what they're saying. But they still won't release her cell phone because it's part of the case. So there's just a lot going on with people knowing things about her case, but not coming forward or saying anything for multiple different reasons. We've had several new things come up on the case that we've had to look into. And so right now, it's just pretty much just sitting still.
So, like I said, it was a couple of years ago that we did a podcast on this. And at that time, it was somewhat fresh. It was March 15th, 2021 when she passed. And I'm trying to remember some of the details. I remember that she was found in a man named Cedric Jones. Is that what you said his name was?
Correct.
Cedric Jones. She was found in his home. He's allegedly he's a CI. Have we confirmed that? Do we have confirmation of that? That he's a confidential informant?
Well, I do have a piece of paper showing where he was an informant.
And this is in Martin, Tennessee, right? It's West Tennessee, but it's Martin.
Correct. Of course, he's been arrested several times since my daughter has passed over multiple things, stealing and everything else. And then he doesn't stay long in jail. He's released. He's out with either a couple of hours the next day or within a couple of days, he's out.
Interesting. Okay. And her cause of death was what was her cause?
She had in her system methamphetamine, fentanyl, and morphine.
Okay. But she also had a broken pelvis and some other injuries in various places on her body.
We asked the Nashville that did the autopsy, we asked them to do x-rays, and of course they didn't do that. But supposedly, that's just hearsay right now, supposedly her pelvic bone was broken during the sexual assault because it happened so bad, from my understanding.
Do we have proof of the sexual assault? Is that confirmed?
They did a rape kit and it come back inconclusive. And of course, on that matter, someone that worked in the DA's office, from my understanding, reached out to another person and had told this person that is just a normal person in the streets that should not know my daughter's case or anything going on with it, about the sexual assault. You know, I want to say he didn't tell him everything, but he did let him know that it was inconclusive. And they didn't even call and tell me that. I actually heard it from this person. And then
Okay.
the DA's office and confirmed it.
Okay. Sorry, I had to reply to a text message. So what between 2022, I guess, when we did the podcast, and now, what has changed between then and now? Is there anything that's developed, anything
There
since
has
the
no
podcast?
clue. And I have turned everything into the police that I have found out. Like I said, they're still investigating it, but they're telling me that they haven't got any new leads. But it just makes me wonder if they really are. I mean, this case has been sitting there. There's proof.
Mhm.
There were security cameras in his house. And when they even went over there to pick those security cameras up with a warrant, he denied it, shut the door. And the police officer that went over there to get the cameras with that warrant went home. And went home for the weekend and had to wait till that following Monday. Of course, within that weekend period of time, anything could have happened in those cameras, which did. He moved them.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying he got rid of them or he stashed them somewhere, but he did something with them.
Mhm. So they never got those cameras.
They never got those cameras.
And that was something that we did talk about in the first podcast. I remember that we know for a fact that he had cameras because she was actually showing them on her live. What was that, the night before?
Yes, it was that Friday.
So Desiree, the night before she died, the night before she was found, anyway, she was doing a Facebook Live, and for some odd reason, she was making it known in her Facebook Live that there were these security cameras throughout that house. And then if I remember correctly, she's also telling him that her phone is about to die, and she's asking him for a charger. And then when they do find her body, her phone is dead on his dresser.
Yes,
So
she is actually in his bed.
she's
Yes.
in his bed, naked, with
Yeah. She,
supposedly a broken pelvis, and fentanyl and methamphetamine and morphine in her system.
right. And of course, I want to let everyone know that, she was in jail for a year. Before this, before she got out. She had just been out a week before they did what they did to her.
Right.
And the only reason she went to jail, it wasn't because she was in trouble with the laws or was a troublemaker or anything like that. She went for violation of probation. She missed a court date, and that's what they got her on. So of course
What was the original charge?
I want to say it was for, now don't quote me on this, I'm not sure, but I want to say it was for, because she had gotten in trouble because she had failed a drug test. And that's what it was for.
So violation of probation, probably.
Yeah. She's
Really?
never been in real major trouble with the police. Every time that she's actually got in trouble was because of me calling her probation officer and telling them, hey, she's hanging with the wrong crowd. I think she's high. Could you do this? I was reaching out to them trying to get help for my daughter. Ask them, send her to rehab, do this, do that.
Okay.
So it's not like she did anything to get in trouble with the police or was out here just stirring up trouble, making trouble for herself or others.
Sure. Okay. Okay, so what we're really trying to do here today, we just want to get some attention back on Desiree, back on her case, because it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And a lot of times, law enforcement will tend to, work harder on cases that they're getting pressure from the public on, to solve too. And in this particular case, I think that, aside from the obvious, which is justice for Desaray, another important reason to solve this case and to get justice is to actually get these very dangerous men off the streets. Because as long as they are getting away with this, as long as they are pushing the drugs and raping or pimping out or taking advantage of these drug addicted females, it's just a danger to society. It's a danger to everybody, really. So don't for one second, just think, oh, this case is just not important. It's just because it is, because you never know by getting this individual off the streets whose life we might be saving. I think this is a mother who is obviously grieving the loss of her daughter, but is also still trying to fight to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else's daughter.
And justice for Desiray's daughter, your granddaughter. She needs to have justice too. That child needs to have justice.
Right. So
Now, when the police did go there to the house and claim they searched it, as they would as a murder case or whatever, they did notice the trash can was clean. Like, now, one of the statements that we got from another individual was that they had my daughter in that trash can and took her to a car wash in that trash can and sprayed her. So these are stories that we're hearing. These are stories that we're getting from people. And of course, we turn everything into the police that we hear. But even one of the officers that I had talked to said that trash can was too clean. So I automatically that should have threw up a red flag.
Yeah, I could see wiping it out, but that does seem pretty far-fetched, the idea of them taking a body to a car wash where they could be seen. That just seems really wild. I don't know if I could subscribe to that.
The car wash they was supposedly took her at was at 3J's. They don't have any cameras. You got to think these are the hours real late at night, somewhere between the hours at 9 o'clock at night to I want to say 6 in the morning.
Okay.
They're trying to clean up evidence and get rid of things or anything. And of course, keeping in mind, I also that Saturday when I was out looking for Desaray, and I was across the street not knowing that my daughter was there. I didn't even know that Cedric Jones had lived there. But I saw him and Jerry Crosby running in and out of Cedric's house, putting boxes and stuff inside of his white van. And I even told the police that as well. So I mean, you take everything that everybody's saying, you take everything that goes on in Martin with these individuals, and you take everything that has been done to my daughter, and I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that something's not adding up.
Well, what is law enforcement telling you? Are they communicating with you at all about the case? No.
Oh, I have a detective that he does if I call, and I'll have to call several times a day, sometimes several times a week, several times a month to get a hold of him, but he will call me back. But it's the same old thing. There's not been nothing new. No one's came forward yet or anything like that. And from my understanding, this is supposed to go a little bit higher up. It's Cedric Jones.
Okay. Well, and I know we've talked a lot about the issue, and I know it's not isolated to just West Tennessee, but the issue of confidential informants for whatever reason seeming to get away with literally murder in some cases. And I just, I think that this could possibly be one of those cases where they're not necessarily looking as hard at that confidential informant as they should be. But maybe if the public really puts some pressure on them to solve this case and to get this dangerous person off the streets, maybe we could make a difference.
Right.
So is that kind of where you're coming from right now, Patricia? I know you're not going to give up getting justice for your daughter. But is it just, are you feeling just really compelled to like get this guy off the streets?
That before he does it to someone else's daughter. You
Okay.
know, I mean, I can't bring my daughter back, but at least I could say, hey, this is what he's doing. This is what he's did. He needs to be put behind bars. And I hear some police officers, when we talk about my daughter's case or whatever, they'll say, oh, we're trying to get him. No, you're not, because y'all wouldn't let him out over just petty charges that he's catching, like burglary or something like that.
Right.
So y'all are just pretty much, letting him do whatever he wants to. But
Right.
why? Why? I mean, because he's an informant, because, he gives y'all information on the people that he sells the drugs to or
Mhm.
gets the drugs to. So, I mean, you got to take out the big guy first before you could take out these little bitty people, you
Right.
know. But I do want to say that someone has come forward and they're willing to put up $2,500
Okay.
for the videos on my daughter's case that was in Cedric's house, or videos in general of what happened to her. And Miss Shannon Taylor from the Weekly County News, that would actually be put in the newspaper next week.
Oh, good. Okay.
There will be a reward.
Okay. So there will be an announcement in the Weekly County News, you said?
Yes.
Next week, that they're going to be offering a $2,500 reward for videos or any proof of what happened to Desaray Wright.
Yes.
And so that, I mean, that kind of brings me back to, okay, you said they had a search warrant for the surveillance cameras, but then he denied having them and he had done something with them, got rid of them or something. I mean, surely there had to be, because anytime that there's going to be, anytime there's surveillance videos, there's got to be some sort of platform or something. So, I mean, wouldn't they, I don't understand. I mean, it couldn't have been like, oh, well, he doesn't have them anymore. Okay, moving on,
iCloud or something.
they,
Well, you got to think, when Miss Sarah went up there to serve him that warrant and he denied that warrant, she turned around and went home and was like, well, there's nothing I could do until I get a hold of the judge and see where he's coming from.
Mhm.
Now, this was over a holiday weekend.
Right.
So, I mean, there was no way that anyone was going to talk to the judge until that following Monday, but
Sure.
she could have actually, since she had that warrant there signed by a judge, went ahead and took him to jail.
But that was how long ago?
That was about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay, so between now and then, they've had plenty of time to
Yeah.
get warrants for, whatever other means that they need to obtain that data.
Yes.
Um,
They didn't even, when they went and got her body, collected her body, they didn't even call me and let me know my daughter had passed away. It
Right.
went through 5 other people before it reached me, and her best friend called and told me.
Yeah.
Not only that, they didn't even tape off the house. They let those guys go right back in there right after that. So, I mean, any evidence that was or could have been left in there
Mhm.
was tampered with, destroyed, or whatever.
Right. It definitely seems very strange. Like they weren't really treating this like a potential murder or like really anything other than an OD. They just were kind of like,
Even
Right.
an OD, whoever gave her that.
but they weren't treating it like that. They were just like,
Yeah,
well,
it's
she OD'd.
that person's home. So
Mhm.
therefore, and you didn't call for help
Right.
if she was in some type of trouble. So there's two right there.
Right, but he told them that he wasn't there for the weekend, which was a lie.
Mhm.
He was there because he was on the video.
Right. Right. Yeah. So just see, it's just, it's almost like the evidence is there and it just doesn't sound like they're really all that adamant about getting it. It's just kind of, I don't know. So I may reach out to, I may just reach out to the detective and have a conversation and see what she has to say about it. See maybe if we can get a short interview or at least a statement out of her. On the other hand, we are about to run out of time. I don't pay for a subscription anymore with Zoom. So we only had like 40 minutes or something. So we're about to run out of time. So um, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up unless you guys have something to add. Patricia, if there's anything that we can do to help, let me know. And I'm really sorry that it took us this long to do a follow-up on this, but um, I think it's God's timing and maybe with everything else going on, we can push Desiree, into the spotlight and get a little more attention on her case and get the public involved a little bit more.
Well, I really do appreciate it, and thank you for everything that y'all have done and are doing.
You're
And
so
you have our numbers. You have our home phone numbers.
welcome.
Okay.
Okay, well, y'all have a blessed evening and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye.